With the halfway point passed, all eyes start to turn on who the potential champions of Season 10 of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship might be. So far, we've had 7 different winners from 6 different teams powered by 4 different powertrains. And the journey to that point has been packed with twists and turns, involving performance, consistency, and bravery. For some, it's been a return to form. For others, it's been 0 to 0. Now, although the championship standings might tell a familiar story, the chapters that have been written so far remind us that absolutely nothing is certain when it comes to Formula E racing. So with that in mind, time to take a look back at the season so far.
The season opener in Mexico in front of a packed crowd provided Pascal Wehrlein with another reason to love Mexico. A near-perfect day securing Julius Baer pole position and second win on Mexican soil. An ideal way for the championship contender to kick things off, and good for the Tag Heuer Porsche team too in their fights for not just the title, but to reclaim the bragging rights over customer team Andretti, who bettered them in both the Drivers' and Teams' World Championships last season. Jaguar-powered secured the other 2 spots on the podium, with Envision driver and Season 2 champion Sebastian Buemi claiming second, and last season's championship runner-up Nick Cassidy finishing third, a performance that would set the tone for the next few races for the Kiwi driver. The return to racing under the lights and double-header in the desert brought with it drama from all directions. The first of the 2 races saw 2-time champion Jean-Éric Vergne on pole, the Frenchman's one-lap pace proving once again to be hard to match. In a race that was largely dictated by attack mode strategies, the difference in which producing varying success. A call from Andretti's Jake Dennis to deny his team's strategy gave him the lead, and then some.
Woohoo! Yeah, boy!
A solid return to the form that won him the World Championship title, because Dennis didn't just win. He finished an almost record-breaking 13 seconds ahead of Jean-Éric Vergne in second, who had no problems getting his elbows out despite being down on energy to the Jaguar behind, fighting for his life to keep the position. Although it was Mitch Evans with the pressure on Jev for the majority of the closing stages, a late move by the Kiwi driver cost him track position and not just a podium spot, but almost a top 5 finish. Teammate Nick Cassidy was there to pick up the pieces for Jaguar though and claim the final spot on the podium, with the team radio of the 2 Jaguar drivers differing drastically come the end of the race.
Yes!
Sam Bird finished 4th after a very impressive 5-place grid climb. A contrast to his previous season, and more importantly for the team and Nissan powertrain provider, a statement of intent in the team's championship. Less than 24 hours later, and despite missing half of last season, returning Nissan driver Oliver Rowland flew to pole position. A position he is more than familiar with in Formula E, but hadn't seen for over a season. The one-lap pace was good, but matching the efficiency of the 2 Jaguar-powered cars behind was too much of a challenge for the Nissan, meaning third was the best Rowland could achieve. But again, the tide was turning and the Nissan powertrain was solidifying its place at the table. Robin Frijns, who returned to former home of Envision in the off-season, finished second, earning the Green Machines their second podium of the season. But a difficult run was just around the corner for the reigning team's champions. Completing the hat-trick of podiums with the win was Captain Consistency Nick Cassidy. He left Diriyah leading the championship with a target firmly painted on his back as the driver to beat. But he too had a difficult few races ahead of him. Jake Hughes and Stoffel Van Dorn completed the top 5, another great show of pace and performance from the McLaren, and further proof that the DS Penske is also a package that can challenge. Back in Brazil for the second time, it was Porsche's Pascal Wehrlein on pole, his second of the season. But in a race that would be so largely dictated by energy management and Formula E's brand of peloton racing, without the benefit of conserving energy in the slipstream, leading the race would be a tough challenge, as Wehrlein found out. An efficient, strong performance from Neon McLaren's Sam Bird saw him chasing down his former teammate Mitch Evans for the lead in the closing stages, up from P5. A daring, dramatic overtake in the final lap secured Bird the win and McLaren's first since joining the championship. Having lost the lead, Mitch Evans had to settle for second and his first podium of the season. The final podium spot was also decided on the last lap when an opportunity taking Oliver Rowland, having climbed up to the front pack from P11, capitalised on Dennis and Wehrlein battling to slip past and claim back-to-back podiums. The first of two new locations for the championship saw the streets of Tokyo turn electric. Oliver Rowland further proved his form and consistency with his second pole position of the season in a home race for the Nissan manufacturer. But victory would come to another new contender in Japan, as Maserati MSG driver Maximilian Günther drove a highly calculated and impressive race to take the lead and earn his second win for the Maserati team. 3 podiums in a row for Rowland, bringing silverware and the taste of champagne to the home team. Rowland sets himself up as a serious title contender, showing his best display of form since joining the championship. Reigning champion Jake Dennis completed the podium, picking up his second trophy of the season when it was very needed, helping to keep himself in the fight to retain his title. Another new venue for the championship came with Formula E's visit to the Adriatic coast and the Misano circuit, familiar to the likes of DTM, MotoGP and World Superbike Championships. The doubleheader had no shortage of drama and controversy. The first of 2 action-packed races seeing Antonio Felix da Costa fly up the order from P13 to cross the line in first place, only to later be disqualified by the FIA for the use of a part not in the permitted spec catalogue. A crushing blow for the Season 6 champion, who needed a good result to show his worth when his place at Porsche is rumoured to be at risk. Meaning the driver seemingly in the form of his life, Oliver Rowland, inherited the race win after another strong performance. Jake Dennis locked in back-to-back podiums, having climbed up a ridiculous number of places from 18th on the grid, and Maximilian Günther finished third also with back-to-back podiums. 24 hours later, the second of the Misano races ended up in catastrophe for the man of the hour, Oliver Rowland, who'd climbed up the order from P10 into the lead with 1 lap to go. But a technical error and miscalculation of Rowland's energy targets left him out of usable energy on the final lap, meaning it was game over. Pascal Wehrlein was all too happy to capitalise and claim his second win of the season on the back of consistent point scoring in all but one race up to that point. Jake Dennis repeated his second place finish from the day before with another impressive grid climb, this time from P9. And Nick Cassidy returned to the podium for the first time since Diriyah to remind us of his intentions in the championship fight, claiming the position almost on the line against Abt Cupra driver Nico Müller, who drove brilliantly to only narrowly miss out on the podium but still secure very decent points for himself and the team. At the end of the Italian weekend, Pascal Wehrlein and Jake Dennis were equal on points at the top of the standings, and only 13 points separated the top 4 drivers. Round 8 saw Formula E back on the streets of Monte Carlo for the 7th Monaco E-Prix, an event known for its action-packed, often championship-decisive racing. The day started with an eventful free practice session and a crash that fractured the hand of McLaren driver Sam Bird, causing an end to his race day. 19-year-old Taylor Barnard was on hand, if you pardon the pun, to step in for Bird for a baptism of fire for the youngest driver to race in Formula E, making up 8 positions during the race and finishing 14th. Back to qualifying, it was Tag Heuer Porsche's Pascal Wehrlein locking in his 3rd pole of the season, but again, Wehrlein wasn't able to convert, dropping back to P5 and opening the door for a Jaguar domination. A masterfully managed team strategy made it a 1-2 for the Jaguar TCS racing team, with Mitch Evans getting his first win of the season and first in Monaco, despite coming close on multiple occasions. Teammate and fellow countryman Nick Cassidy finished second, claiming his 5th podium of the season, more than any other driver on the grid. Taking the final spot on the podium, his first since his championship win back in Season 7, was DS Penske driver Stoffel Vandoorne. A huge confidence-boosting result for the former champ, made even better for the team by teammate Jean-Eric Vergne finishing just behind in P4.
Season 10 is shaping up to be one of the most competitive in the championship's history. More drivers, more teams, and more powertrains in the mix for glory. And at this stage, past the halfway point in the season, just 25 points separate the top 5 in the driver's standings, meaning there is all to play for.